Welcome back to BST, your favorite father-son podcast.
That special podcast where I don't do a damn thing and he does everything.
That's right. To start off the show today, our 5th episode.
It's been 5?
Yeah, it has.
Wow, it's been 5.
I wanted to give some congratulations to Alex Ovechkin, our tracker. He's 27 goals away from Wayne Gretzky's record.
Yeah, but he got hurt last night.
Yeah, he did get hurt. I think I saw a report today he's week to week, so hopefully he gets healthy and he's able to break the record this season. But 27, I think in the first time we talked about it on this podcast, I was not anticipating him breaking it this season. But if he can come back in time, I think he could. He's leading the league in goals right now, which is amazing.
Yeah, no, that's a hell of a record.
But we'll see what happens when he comes back. But congratulations to Ovechkin and get well soon. We had a great Week 11 of the NFL. And let's just run through some of the games that happened. On Thursday, the Eagles beat the Commanders 26-18, although it was not that close, in my opinion. It was pretty much a blowout throughout for the Eagles. Then you had the Packers barely beating the Bears 2019. We'll talk about that more in just a minute. And then you had the Lions just trouncing the Jaguars 52-6. It was not even close. Seems like the Lions are kind of running it up the score on teams this year. Yeah. Would you say? It's kind of crazy at this point. I think their point differential is like 150 or something. They are just dominating teams at this point. Then you had the Vikings beating the Titans 23-13. I think the biggest thing out of this game was the amount of penalty first downs the Vikings had. Like the refs hated the Titans. They're
a mess. Titans are a mess.
True. They did have that really long touchdown. That was pretty cool. Dolphins kind of got their get-right game against the Raiders, and now, they could make a push at this point for the playoffs. It'd be tough, but they could definitely make a push.
Mm-hmm.
Rams beat the Patriots 28-22. I believe Stafford had like 4 touchdowns or so, and both Kupp and Nakua did pretty well as well.
Took them a while to get going, but
yeah. But another good game from the Rams. Last week was kind of a blip in their hot streak here.
Yeah.
Then you had the Saints beating the Browns 35-14. I think Taysom Hill had a ton of fantasy points. That's all I know.
Yeah, I was.
You almost picked him up, didn't you? In fantasy.
Yeah, well, I would have won, big. But oh well.
That would have been big. The Colts beat the Jets 28-27. A little bit on the Jets. Well, they fired their GM today. And then a report came out like 10 minutes before we started the show that the owner wants to bench Rodgers.
Really?
Yeah. So he believes that Rodgers is the reason they're losing, which I can't argue with that. But also their defense sucks.
But isn't Rodgers the reason everybody got fired? Didn't Rodgers want them all fired?
Yeah. So
Woody Johnson, I don't know, man.
It's such a mess.
What's up with that guy.
But I was telling him, you take some of these one-score games and you flip them. The Jets are pretty good. They have a win against the Bills, which is a great win. They were really close to winning that game. They nearly beat the Vikings. It's just been a season of just tough losses for the Jets. And right now, it's not looking good. And Rodgers is probably a goner after this season, to be honest. But then you had the Ravens and the Steelers. Steelers beat the Ravens 18-16. We'll talk about that game later on. The Broncos just destroyed the Falcons. I did not see that coming whatsoever. But good for the Broncos. They got a lot of hate for taking Bo Nix, but he looks great out there. He has a legitimate case for Rookie of the Year at this point. He's pretty good. Then you had the Seahawks beating the 49ers 20-17. Walk-off touchdown run by Geno Smith, and Niners are like 500 now. And Bosa's injured. So
just in time to play the Packers.
Yeah. They'll still probably beat us, but
no. I think we have them. We're going to beat them.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Bills beat the Chiefs 30-21, ending their undefeated season. We'll talk about that game more in just a minute. On Sunday night, you had the Chargers beating the Bengals 34-27. It was a good game, but once again, the Bengals and Joe Burrow just play absolutely unbelievable, and it does not matter.
Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the NFL right now.
I mean, I think he has like 27 touchdown passes.
No team help at
No,
all.
I mean and his kicker missed 2 kicks, and it's like, man, you gotta. I mean, it's just horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's. We were talking about it. It's almost like Stafford with the Lions. He just has no help, but you're watching a quarterback go out there and just play phenomenally. And then Monday night, I don't know if anybody watched this game. It was kind of close early on, but the Texans beat the Cowboys 34-10. The Cowboys are a mess. Early in pregame, they tried opening the roof and metal fell off of it, nearly killing somebody. Nobody got seriously injured, but it's like, really, Jerry? Your own stadium's falling apart now, let alone your team? So
I do have a snippet here from that I found on the Jets situation that you mentioned before. So looks like the article says the Athletic's Zach Rosenblatt and Diana Rossini reported, and it says, and I quote, according to those sources, the day after the Jets lost to the Denver Broncos on September 29, there was a contentious meeting at the team facility. The report read, it included Woody Johnson, Joe Douglas, Vice Chairman Christopher Johnson, Team President Jaime Elhai, and Ira Axelrad, an advisor to Johnson. It also included a group of coaches, then head coach Robert Saleh, offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett. I was going to say Nat Hackett. Nat Hackett. Then defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich and special teams coordinator Brant Boyer among them. The coaches had been called in to explain what happened with their units during the 10-9 home loss to the Broncos. During the meeting, Woody Johnson suggested to the coaches that they bench Aaron Rodgers in favor of Tyrod Taylor because he felt Rodgers' performance was holding the team back. The coaches and Douglas, stunned at this suggestion, talked him out of it and convinced Johnson to stay the course and that benching Rodgers with his pedigree 4 games into the season would not sit well with the locker room. The coaches also felt it would embarrass Rodgers. The idea of benching the future Hall of Famer sounded so absurd that one coach asked whether the owner was serious.
Wow.
Multiple sources from that meeting believed he was. So, wow.
they're a mess.
Man.
It's way worse than we thought.
So, you think back, and the phone call that Woody Johnson made to Aaron Rodgers, what was that phone call?
I don't know.
Because Rodgers said he didn't know that Saleh was being fired, so was that a you better play better kind of call, or what,
Yeah, it kind of throws a whole wrench in what everybody
That's
thought,
interesting.
because everybody thought, oh, Rodgers was controlling everything. But,
Yeah.
I mean, if the owner wasn't on the same page with Rodgers, it's hard to believe that was true.
Yeah.
But, man.
Wow.
A lot of messy franchises. Speaking of messy franchises, the Giants, they benched Daniel Jones. He's now the third string, and he's still going to travel with the team. That's very odd to me.
Insult to injury. So, his brother, my other son, who is yet to come onto the podcast, maybe he will. I don't know. We're working out his contract details, I guess. I texted him just before we came on, and I asked him to give me a Giants fan's thoughts on the benching of Daniel Jones, because the casual fans' thoughts are just like, it's Daniel Jones. Like,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Who cares?
That's my thoughts.
Right? Most of them, who cares? It's Daniel Jones. Saw him play live this year, week 1. He looked awful. He looked great 2 years ago in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Had a great season. Loved watching him beat Minnesota, but boy, that feels like forever ago. Anyhow, these are his comments. This is the Giants fans' comments. I am very upset about it. I love him and will miss him, but I know he sucks. So,
which is progress, because for about 2 years in a row now, he has defended Daniel Jones as a top 10 quarterback. So to defend or to say that he sucks is great progress in our minds.
Well, 2 years ago he played well. He scored a lot of touchdowns, not necessarily passing, but with 15 or 16 touchdown passes and probably about 10 or so. I can't remember.
This is
rushing,
more on the Giants organization, in my opinion. They never really gave him a chance to have a good team around him.
It's pretty dysfunctional. It's hard for anybody.
I mean, Dayball's a good coach, but
yeah.
I feel like they've never had a good team around him. And then, you get rid of your best player and go watch him against your division rival light it up. Genius.
Yeah. I know.
You get rid of your safety, and now he's light him up for the Packers. And I mean, I'm happy that happened, but why are you getting rid of these players? You're not paying anybody. Why? It makes no sense.
Well, and the league is a lot better when the Giants are good. When they can stand up to Philly and Dallas and be competitive. It's always been better. I mean, some of those NFC East matchups over the years have been so competitive, but of late it's been Philly and Dallas, and so hopefully the Giants can figure it out.
But I would say the same thing with Dallas. As much as I love seeing Dallas suffer and suck,
it's much better when they're competitive.
Part of me just misses them being competitive and then ultimately getting their heart taken out.
You miss
in the playoffs.
You miss the times when when Dallas is competitive.
Yeah.
You underestimate that because you want expectations on them because it's so much better when the expectations are there.
Agreed.
And they always stub their toe.
Agreed.
Now, your aunt is a Dallas Cowboys fan. And I think she may be a subscriber now. I don't know. Probably not.
Subscribe.
Certainly after she hears our comments about the Dallas Cowboys, she will no longer be a subscriber.
Unsubscribe.
So we'll go from, I don't even know what our subscribers are at.
We're at 17 now.
17? Whoa,
I
17?
know.
I don't even have that many family members.
I don't know.
Certainly don't have that many friends, so I don't.
I don't know how many of you guys don't know us, but thanks for subscribing.
17
whoever you
subscribers. If your aunt is one of them, she probably won't be after those comments. But Dallas sucks.
They do.
Even with Dak.
Yeah.
Even when they're good, they suck.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
A lot of mess in the NFL, but there are some good teams.
Yeah.
And we'll get to those top 10 teams later. But first game I wanted to talk about, because it's very close to our hearts, was the Packer game this past Sunday.
Every time I hear the Bears, I have to stifle a yawn because they're just so boring.
But
I'm just so bored of beating them.
But we gotta give them their credit.
Yeah, that's true. I have a very good friend of mine that's a Bears fan. And he's been through a lot of hurt, a lot of pain over the years, so he's kind of just accepts it now. And his comments after the game is, well, you earned it, I think, or we didn't. And probably more in this case, we being the Bears, didn't earn it. Well,
I mean, it's just...
Well, no, I say that wrong. They earned it. They didn't execute it.
Yeah.
That's what really happened. I mean,
it was
better
one of those,
to be lucky than good sometimes.
It was one of those games where you could see the Bears were probably playing... not their best, but probably one of their better versions of how they can play.
Well, they just got the ball out of Caleb's hands fast, and that.
Well, yeah, I feel like,
and I think if you're studying the Bears going into that game, you're looking at a lot of game film of Caleb Williams not doing very much except getting sacked, and so then you change up the play calls. They're probably. I mean, I think it. I don't feel like the Packers are a great defense. They've been playing well, but they clearly had a problem with him early on with how fast he was getting the ball out, and you have such talent around you that those guys can make plays, and so that's really what happened.
I think I'm not going to defend the Packers defense, but I felt like it was kind of a curveball for how much they ran with Caleb, especially on some of those designed read options. Like, we didn't seen that all season. So my theory is it's like Shane Waldron was like, you're a pocket passer. You're a pocket passer. And he's kept telling him that. So he was just like, well, I'm in the pocket. Oh, nobody's open. I guess I'm just going to get sacked. And this time they're like, no, move.
Well,
Get on the
I
move.
think a lot of it too. I don't know if he was telling him to do that, but he was looking to do what he was doing his whole career in USC.
Yeah.
Is just extend plays, and the NFL defenses are too good for that. They're too fast. He can't ad lib. So I'm sure he wasn't being coached to go, and now he is, or in this game he finally was. But encouraging for a Packer fan for the Bears, because the Bears are playing the whole division coming up. So
hopefully
maybe
they can get us
they
a
can
get us
still
a
do this
win.
and get their maybe they can make Detroit or Minnesota stub their
100%.
toes, and
Maybe. I don't know, but they're kind of cursed. Like, at this point, you cannot not say they're cursed. But I think as a Packers fan, it's just frustrating because you know how good this team and this offense can be, and they just consistently make mistakes. But I mean, Jordan Love went 13 for 17, 261 yards, a touchdown, a pick, and a rushing touchdown. It doesn't look great, but I felt like this game there wasn't a real boneheaded decision.
He got a little bit of pressure and he sailed a ball.
Yeah. And that's not something we've really seen this season. It's been, why are you throwing that ball? Not, that was a bad throw.
It's an overthrow, yeah.
Which, I take it, honestly, more than what are you doing every week? Because at that point, it's just like, what are we doing? And it's just, stupid. But, But, and then, of course, we have to talk about the block to end the game.
And it's funny. Definitely there was some luck on our side walking away with that win, because I definitely didn't feel like we were going to win that game. And it always feels better when they block a kick versus the kicker misses it, because you feel like his error gave you the win, when now it's like the effort of the special teams got you. You stole the win with the effort. But Eberflus is a terrible coach.
I think the thing...
Can any Packer fan out there, if Matt LaFleur, what the hell would you be saying to Matt LaFleur if you got the ball to the point they did? What was it, the 30? I don't know. It was a 46-yard, right? Your 46-yard field goal. You're going, okay, yeah, that's not the farthest. It's somewhat of a chip shot, but you have over 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
If you watch LaFleur just run the clock down and play for the field goal, you'd be going,
I'd be very mad.
Give it to Jacobs.
Yeah.
Maybe don't throw, but try to run. You have a timeout, for God's sakes.
You might as well. You lose nothing. And his excuse to try to say they didn't want to risk a fumble. I was watching on one of the morning shows, and they ran the statistics of how often fumbles occur. And it's the smallest percentage of carries a fumble occurs. So the odds of fumbling is so low. And if they even get probably 3 to 5 more yards, it's probably nearly impossible to block it.
It's going to make it hard. Yeah.
So it's just
it's just weird. It's weird because it felt like they were moving the ball.
Yeah.
And we were on our heels. You're already demoralized, and the fact that they just ran the clock down, I was like, well, okay. It's 46-yard field goal. I didn't feel good about it, but yeah, Eberflus. Come on. It's like the Jets are firing their people, and the Bears are just like, whatever.
Well, it's just, I don't know why they love Eberflus so much. For some reason,
it's the new look. It's the new look he has this year. It's a little gray.
That's what it was. I think that's
hair,
why they kept him.
Nice and slick,
It's just, but keep him. Keep him, Chicago.
All right.
We're not going to complain. Keep him.
No.
He will continue to lose you games because he's 5-17 in one score games.
Yeah.
And I've seen there are 6 games where your win probability at the end of the game or close to it was 96%, and he lost every single one of those games.
Brutal.
And it's
brutal.
How How do you continue to let this happen and continue to let down the fans like this?
Well, and you have the headsets. Why? And I listened to the interview that the media had with him yesterday, where he doubled down on his decision to do what he did, that he wouldn't change it. And one of the reporters there said, "Did you know that Cairo Santos was 70 for 70 in his career under 45 yards, and that longer than 45 yards, he was a 71% complete, or 71% success rate. And don't you have a special teams coach in your ear going, here's where we need to get.
Yeah.
He's not as good from here. He's better from here.
Yeah.
Get it here.
Yeah.
So you have one timeout. Run the damn ball. Right, Seattle? Run the damn ball. So
all the Seattle fans are mad at you now. You just decided to drop that on us.
I don't think any of our 17 subscribers are Seattle fans.
Wrong.
Who? Who's this?
My friend Jaeden, who will have his hot takes later. He's a Seattle fan.
Is he still a subscriber?
He is.
Okay.
He just subscribed recently.
Sorry, Jaeden, but you know Jaeden. Run the damn ball.
Yeah.
You'd say the same thing if you were here.
But on the other side of the ball, the Packers, I think the only encouraging thing from this game really was the self-inflicted mistakes for the most part were down. Minimal penalties, minimal drops, those were down. So from that perspective, like no boneheaded decisions by Jordan Love, from that perspective, it was good.
Yeah.
But once again, we're one of the worst red zone offenses in the NFL.
Yeah.
But we did play the number one red zone defense in the Bears, and we still scored 3 out of 5 times in the red zone.
Well, and we've scored a lot on big plays, so we don't have a ton of drives taking us in there. But in this game, we didn't have very many drives, period.
But the Packers averaged 8.5 yards per play, which is really good. That is outstanding. So it's like they could, between the 20s, they can move the ball. But as soon as you get into the red zone, it's just like things get tight. They can't seem to get open. And it kind of makes sense to me because they don't really have like a big jump ball guy. So it's kind of like they don't have a big threat. They're just very speedy. Yeah. So I can kind of see why that is and why that happens, but it needs to be fixed. And another thing is the Packers pass rush is just downright awful. Like just completely awful. And if they get to the playoffs without figuring out how to get pressure with a 4-man front, they're not winning a single thing this year.
And Caleb was getting rid of the ball in like 2 seconds, so the pass rush can't get there.
I understand, but all season has been a problem, and it continues to be a problem. So it's like, and it shouldn't be a problem because you have good players who should be able to rush the passer. Like I don't even think Kenny Clark has a sack all year. And Quay Walker on defense,
he's terrible.
He needs to be cut. He needs to be off the team. He is horrible. There are plays where he reads it correctly, gets the spot, and just gets and cannot make the tackle. It's pathetic. He should be off the team. Waste of a first-round pick. It is absolutely pathetic.
Well, the whole defense is a first-round pick, aren't they?
Yeah, that's what it feels like, but not on the field. It's just... I think the Packers definitely need to rework this defense in the offseason. They may win a playoff game this year, but it's not going to be because of the defense.
Hey, we got to get to the playoffs first.
I feel good about getting there. I don't feel good about doing anything in the playoffs. But we'll see. The Packers win 20-19 on a blocked field goal. It was a really exhilarating feeling, though, because it was just like, wow, I cannot believe we won that game. It was just absolute luck that we blocked that kick. But you'll take the W. It was a big one because, I mean, we have a pretty tough schedule coming up. So we can't just give away wins like this. Wins that we should have. But we'll see where the Packers finish and how they play next week against 49ers, which has been our kryptonite. So, but yeah. Next game I want to talk about was the Bills and Chiefs game. The Bills end the Chiefs' perfect season, 30-21. I think, I'm going to say this, and it's just going to backfire in the playoffs, but I really don't think the Chiefs are that great of a team, especially against, like, good football teams. I don't think they can,
So everybody they've beaten on their schedule is bad?
not necessarily, but I feel like Buffalo, how they're playing right now,
Beat the Ravens.
Yeah, in week 1.
Beat the Ravens, though.
I'm just saying. Beat the Ravens.
The fact is, the Chiefs are going to make the Super Bowl.
No, they're not.
They are.
No, they're not.
They are
No,
100% going to.
No, they're not.
Yes.
No, they're not.
They will.
No, they're not.
They will.
They
have a very different gear in the playoffs.
I don't care.
They've done this before where they've looked pedestrian in the regular season, and then the playoffs hit, and playoff Mahomes shows up, and playoff Kelsey shows up after doing nothing all year, and they win. Like that.
I don't care.
The defense is even better.
Their defense got exposed, though.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that has to do with on the road. They're going to have home field. It's going to go through Kansas City, and nobody is going into Kansas City and winning. There's no Joe Burrow coming in there. Joe Burrow is not. Their Bengals aren't making the playoffs. Joe Burrow is the only one to do it, if you don't count Brady, which arguably the Chiefs really won that game because of some bad calls.
Fair.
But so you can't even really count Brady in that. The only one that's gone in there and legitimately won, I feel like, is Joe Burrow and in the playoffs. And Josh Allen plays well.
That changes this year.
I'm not seeing it. Until
I'll
believe it when I see it.
I'm not going to say the Bills dominated this game, but they handled them. It was not close.
Well, Josh Allen handled them.
That's literally. I literally have it written down here. The Bills will go as far as Josh Allen takes them.
I didn't read that. Yeah, I don't read anything. I don't know anything that's coming
but
up.
But that run he had at the end.
Josh Allen is the best football player in the NFL.
Joe
Burrow's the best quarterback. Josh Allen's the best football player.
If there was like a Heisman, just like the best player, not
Isn't
necessarily
that the MVP?
Kind of, but you would like to think that the MVP is most valuable. But if there was like a best player, it's Josh Allen. He on that 4th and 2, he took a pretty big drop. He has to run like 7 yards to the line of scrimmage and then another 2 to get the first down, and then ran like, I don't even know how long, 26-yard touchdown run to get to the end zone, and ran over like 3 Chiefs defenders.
Pretty impressive.
It's just, I feel like this is the Bills' year. It has to be. For the same reason it's the Lions' year. It has to be the Bills' year.
No.
How? They're getting Milano back. That's going to be big for him on defense.
Yeah. When is he coming back?
Next week.
He's back next week, huh?
Well,
maybe.
not as in this coming Sunday, but the one after, because it's a bye week. So They got the bye to get a little bit healthy. They got pretty good weapons with Cooper now. Their weapons are pretty good.
I'll cheer for the Bills for sure,
Same.
but
it's just like, man,
I don't know.
They got a running game. They got Cooper. They got Shakir. They got Kincaid.
That's where, I don't know. If it comes down to Bills and Lions, somebody's winning their first Super Bowl. And
that'd be electric Super Bowl.
It feels like I want to see Buffalo win it more than Detroit.
Yeah, well, obviously.
Just
because they're a division.
Yeah.
But, man, I just don't see the Chiefs winning it this year. Mahomes, he just throws some brain-dead interceptions. That's the only thing that comforts me a little bit about Jordan Love's interceptions is Mahomes is doing the same thing every game.
Yeah, but Mahomes, I don't know if they're brain-dead interceptions.
They are. It's like he's getting sacked and he just chucks it in the air.
Yeah.
And it's picked.
Yeah, maybe. He believes in his abilities, and I think it leads to those. Just like Jordan Love believes in his abilities. And
I get it, the 3 Super Bowls, but I'm talking about this year.
But it always comes down to, though, when the game's on the line, Mahomes will make the play.
All I'm saying is, let's look big picture here. I don't see Mahomes improving from how he's playing. Just with how the Chiefs are set up, They don't have great weapons. I truly don't believe he will become the GOAT if he continues to play like this. Because Brady never played like this. You cannot look at me with a straight face and tell me Mahomes is playing good football right now. He sucks.
I disagree with that. He's had the best rating in the fourth quarter of any quarterback right now.
But I don't care. It's a 4-quarter game.
Yeah, but
I'm saying
it comes down
quarter.
to the witching hour. The fourth quarter
get it.
Important, and he's played the best because he's done enough to win those games. You take Mahomes off of there, and the Chiefs don't win. They don't win any games.
Wow.
They win all their games because of him.
No, that's just wrong. They win all their games because of the defense. And we're blind to it because he's won 3 Super Bowls. We're blind to it.
I don't know.
We are blind to the way that Mahomes is playing because they are 9-1 and have won 3 Super Bowls. But we need to look at the season as a whole, take the record out of it because the record is because of their defense and how dominant their defense is, and look at it and see Mahomes is playing average at best.
I don't know. What's his QBR?
Not great.
Where does he rank in QBR?
It's not great. I don't even know how you can defend Mahomes at this point.
Because he's going to win the Super Bowl.
No, he's not.
Third time.
I'm saying it right now, and I'll say it for every week for the rest of the season. And I bet 300.
Patrick Mahomes is 7th in the league in QBR.
What is it?
It's 67. Burrow leads with the 76.
Okay, I don't need QBR. Give me quarterback rating. Not QBR. Find quarterback rating.
Let's see if I just go into him. See if I can get the rating.
Should be at the very end of the... Here, let me see it.
Yeah, you find it.
90.
90.
That's average. I'm sorry. It is. It is. It's probably below average.
Below average for him.
All I'm saying is, at this point...
So he won the Super Bowl last year and his rating was 92.6.
No, I'm not saying that they're not going to win. They could win. I don't think they will.
And his QBR is higher this year than it was last year.
But I'm just saying, if you cannot look at me and tell me he's playing good football.
15 touchdowns, 11 interceptions.
That's just not good. It's not. It's not good.
He's completing 70% of his passes. Completion percentage is pretty good.
So he's just a game manager.
Well,
Is he?
No.
How?
I don't think he's a game manager. I think he can still make the throws.
He can make every throw, but he's a game manager. He is better than Brock Purdy.
Mahomes is, oh my God, he's so much better than Brock Purdy. He's so much better than Brock Purdy. You are out of your mind.
No, he's not.
You are out of your mind.
He is playing just as well as Brock Purdy this year.
Oh my God, not even close.
Dude, he is not playing great.
He is not playing what you're used to seeing him play, but Patrick Mahomes' average is better than the above average year of any quarterback.
No.
Yeah.
Because this year sucks.
Anyway, no. We need to move on to the next topic.
Chiefs are not winning the Super Bowl. You heard it here first.
Repeat.
You heard it here first. Final game we wanted to talk about was the Steelers beating the Ravens 18-16. I think the big takeaway for me from this game is the Ravens, the Steelers played their game, and they beat the Ravens playing their game.
I do believe I called this game.
I think you
did.
I
don't think they cover. I don't think they
covered, but
didn't
still,
cover the spread. But I picked the Steelers. So.
But for a Ravens fan, I think for both teams it's kind of concerning because of course, the Steelers get the win, but Ravens missed 2 kicks. Justin Tucker looks pretty washed right now. They missed 2 kicks. they probably, they win if they make those 2 kicks. So I've heard a lot of Steelers fans like, wow, we're probably going to the AFC Championship. And I heard one say, we're getting the 1 seed in the AFC.
Well, they do play the Chiefs.
That could be a good game. But what I'm trying to say is, although Pittsburgh won, I would not panic if I was the Ravens. Because you know who you have at quarterback. For the Steelers, I'd argue it's a little bit more concerning for the Steelers. Because the Ravens have been getting lit up on defense. And Russ got the win, but didn't play that good.
I will say, if I'm a Ravens fan, I am concerned. Because, again, Lamar Jackson underperformed against the Steelers, just like he does against the Chiefs. That's why I have zero faith that the Ravens will do anything in the playoffs if they face the Chiefs or the Bills.
This was a good defense.
It's always a good defense. And he never plays well against them. Ever.
The only thing I will say is neither did Russ. And what does Lamar Jackson's kicker do? Misses 2 kicks, loses them the game. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Did Lamar play good? No. But did his team let him down? Yes.
A kicker let him down?
Yeah.
Not the team.
I'm just saying.
Well, Lamar let him down too, because he wasn't sharp. He didn't play well. He could have, I don't know.
But,
could have made more plays.
Stat line, 16 for 33, 207 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 46 rushing yards. That 1 pick was not on him. He put it right in the breadbasket. The defender took the ball away from the receiver.
Yeah.
So, did he play good? No.
Not a good completion percentage.
But, we're talking about this Steelers defense, with the likes of the great Steelers defenses. They're really good. They're really good.
Well, and that's what'll trip them up in the playoffs. They'll be that much better in the playoffs.
Yeah, maybe. But it's just I'm a little bit more concerned as a Steelers fan than a Ravens fan, as crazy as that sounds. Because I just legitimately have questions if Russ can carry this team. Because eventually...
And you don't have questions about if Lamar can carry them?
No, because he is the two-time MVP.
And so Mahomes is too. And that same argument doesn't pan out for you for how Mahomes is playing. It's come on.
Because one is playing like an MVP this season and one isn't.
Yeah, well, he didn't show up in
I'm not talking about the past.
Well,
you are a Lamar hater.
No, I'm not a Lamar hater. I think Lamar's great. I just have never seen him do anything in the playoffs.
No,
I'm not. Just like I will not believe that the Chiefs will lose the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I will not believe it until I see him win in the playoffs.
Okay. No, I
They want
agree.
to anoint him,
I agree.
but this is the same song and dance. They got the Steelers one more time, and they better beat them.
I can agree with that. But all I'm saying is, if you're a Steelers fan, do you legitimately believe in this offense?
You believe in it more than you did with Justin Fields.
Okay.
So,
but that's not a big benchmark.
Yeah, well, but he was making plays before this game.
But
if it's a one bad game for Lamar, it can be a one bad game for Russell Wilson.
But we haven't seen Russ really take over. He played well against Washington and the Jets. But
I don't think Russ can take over anymore, but you don't need him to take over. You just need him to complete passes, you run the ball, and you rely on your defense. That's Steelers football.
That's Chiefs football right now, I'd argue.
Well, and it's working. They're winning.
So is Russ better than Mahomes?
No. Russ is not better than Mahomes.
I don't know. This season?
No.
You don't think so?
No. You are a Mahomes hater. That's what you
are. I put $300 on the Chiefs last Super Bowl, and I was right. I am not a hater. I am a realist.
You did what? $300?
I put $300 on the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, and I was right.
Okay, well, that doesn't... You can still bet on someone you hate. You're still a hater.
And Mahomes on my fantasy team.
Okay, well, you can still have a player on your fantasy team that you hate.
All I'm saying is,
That's the whole purpose of fantasy. So you get the good players you hate, you put on your team, so that when they kill you, you still can maybe win.
The bottom line is, I'm more concerned as a Steelers fan than a Ravens fan.
Okay.
That's the bottom line. You can hate me for it. I think that is the truth. But
I mean, Steelers are leading the division, so I don't think they're too concerned right now.
yeah, I mean, it's all sunshine and rainbows. But
Steelers have a bully mentality against the Ravens, and so the Ravens, for whatever reason, don't play well against the Steelers.
no, yeah, I don't
so-
know why.
Or maybe not the Ravens, because the Ravens have obviously beat the Steelers a lot, but Lamar struggles, and he struggles against the Chiefs, and that's where Lamar and Josh Allen that's where they separate. That's where Allen separates himself from Lamar, in my opinion.
Well, yeah.
Is that he's always played well. Even in defeat, Josh Allen has played well.
No, yeah, I agree.
So
There's never Josh Allen.
Lamar has looked horrible in defeat.
Okay. I know. I can agree with that. So are you saying Josh Allen is the MVP right now?
Probably.
I wouldn't have anything to say against it.
A lot of people were beating up the Ravens for only 13 carries for Derrick Henry and no touches in the fourth quarter, but really in the fourth quarter they had the pick that wasn't really his fault or wasn't Lamar's fault, and then they scored a touchdown on the other one. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's not like they went 3 and out, so people were killing the Ravens for that. But, yeah, I mean, they have to figure out how to get Henry involved more. Like the 2-point play, he wasn't even out there. Like, you have to get him in there, but Coaching didn't do a great job. Missed kicks. Who knows? Tucker makes both field goals. It's a different story.
I agree.
So,
But
yep.
Steelers get the win. We'll see how the rest of this AFC North battle goes out. But, yeah. Okay. Power rankings. We're calling it the Bracken batch. I think it's pretty clever. Let us know what you think in the comments. And for our number 1 team in the NFL, the Detroit Lions. Like we said earlier, the Lions, 150-something point differential, 9-1, best in the NFC. They destroyed the Packers. They beat the Vikings. It's incredible what they're doing right now. And they're obviously beatable. We saw the Texans almost beat them. But right now, they have to make it. They have to at least make it to the Super Bowl. If they don't, because it's going to run through Detroit. They're going to have home field advantage, and just with their creativity on offense and their defense playing really good right now, you have to. They have to make it. They have to make it. But we'll see where that goes. And number 2, the Bills. You beat the Chiefs. You beat the number 2 team. Last week, we may have the Ravens at number 2 last week, but you beat the Chiefs, you move up.
So a 2-loss Buffalo Bills is above a 1-loss Chiefs.
Yes, you beat the team, you move ahead of them.
Okay.
That's just how it works. Especially when you beat them by 2 scores.
Well, it was still a 1-score game in the fourth quarter, so let's...
Hey, 2
scores late.
Hey, all you're saying is it comes down to the fourth quarter.
Well...
It does.
Bill, let's not say it was a blowout. It was
not. It wasn't a blowout.
It was very much in contention most of the game.
The Bills handled them.
Most of that game, the country felt like the Chiefs were going to win at some point.
I agree, but that's just because of their pedigree.
Well, great teams figure out how to win.
Great defenses, not great teams.
Great teams.
Great defenses. Number 3, the Chiefs. I couldn't drop them too far because, they're still the Chiefs.
Oh, I thought they sucked, though.
Their defense is very good.
Wow.
Their offense, on the other hand, is not very good and not Super Bowl worthy, and will never be.
Well, not Super Bowl worthy. We're going to see the first 3-peat we've ever seen.
No, we aren't. I will stand on that take right now. It won't happen.
Yeah, we'll see.
Chiefs at 3. And number 4, the Eagles. They've silently had a 6-game win streak and have played really good. And, like we said earlier, the Commanders game looks closer than it was. I felt like the Eagles pretty much handled them and kind of separated themselves a little bit.
I don't know. We'll see. They play again.
Yeah, true. That'll be a good game. Number 5, the Steelers. even though I don't trust their offense, you can't deny how good their defense is. They're just phenomenal. So, at number 6, Ravens. I still trust Lamar and how he's playing this season. He has like 3 picks on the season, and none of them are his fault. Like, I've looked. None of them are his fault. They're all deflected passes. So, and I don't know. And I just think him and Henry, if they just lean on Henry in some of these games, like they have, for some reason, in these big games, they just forget Henry exists.
Well, maybe they're being strategic. Maybe they're saving him.
Maybe. I mean, that's not a bad strategy.
Maybe they're saving him. Maybe they're keeping him healthy.
That's a good point, honestly, because maybe. I mean, you kind of need to save your star running back.
But you're not exactly in a position record-wise where you can afford to lose.
I mean, they're 7-4.
I know, but you don't want to lose too many. Especially if you're there to get a win on the road.
Well, I think now it's kind of like, all right, we gotta make sure that we get in the playoffs here. But the Ravens, number 6. At 7, the Vikings.
They just seem weak now. They seem
it's just like it's the same thing. A lot of these teams, I don't trust their offense.
I'm more nervous to go into Detroit than Minnesota right now.
It's just like, I mean, even though the Vikings kind of handled us.
Not that I think the Packers would easily beat the Vikings at all, but it's like I'm not as afraid to go in there of like what the scoring result would be, but
it's just I don't know. I
don't know.
Darnold, I don't trust him.
But I feel like Green Bay got a pretty good effort from Detroit. Like I felt like Detroit in the rain, not to rehash old games, but Detroit came in and I felt like they did a lot of things right, didn't make any mistakes in bad weather and played really well. We didn't give them any type of a good game or good effort. So if we can put together our best effort against the Vikings and the Lions, I'd like to see where that comes
agree.
out. If we could put together our best game, where do we stack up? I don't know.
Speaking of the Packers, at 8, the Packers. I contemplated dropping them out of the top 10 because of that narrow win.
If they lost to the Bears, they would certainly be out of the top 10.
If we lose next week, I'm going to drop them. Because at that point, it's just like, we're just a what if. At that point, it's just like, what if
you got a banged up Niners team coming in? You should be able to win this game.
Yeah, I mean,
this is the weakest the 49ers have been. Even if they weren't so banged up, they got old somehow. Somehow, I mean, we know how, but it just seems like it hasn't been that long with this group. But they look old. Deebo Samuel's slower. Kittle's banged up all the time. Bosa's hurt. Purdy's looking vulnerable, so we'll see.
They should win next week, but if they don't, they're gone. Yeah. They're not a playoff team. I don't care. I'll be very harsh about the Packers if they lose next week. Number 9, Washington. I mean, the loss is not great to the Eagles, but I mean, you're a young team. I did not expect them to just win from here on out. But I mean, I think they're just one of those teams. It's like, they'll beat the bad teams, but against the good teams, they'll probably struggle a little bit just because they're super young. Like, they still have a ton of holes on their roster. There's a reason nobody thought they would do anything this season, is because they had a rookie quarterback and their roster is not that great. So, I mean, they've had a surprising season so far, but they just barely get in the top 10. And they're rounded out the Chargers. I mean, the job that Harbaugh is doing is just simply outstanding. But he's done it everywhere he's gone. It's not I'm not really surprised this is what he's doing, because he's done it to every single football team he's gone to.
Yeah.
And he just flipped them around. They were like the worst defense in the league last year, and now they're number 1 in points allowed. That's just outstanding. I mean, that is just absolutely crazy. Yeah. And, I mean, they could be real dangerous, because if they have a good defense, and then if you have Herbert on the other side, I don't care. You're in every game at that point. So, they round out the top 10. I'd say probably some teams on the bubble are like the Texans. Texans are there. Who else?
We'll see if they crack the top 10 next week.
Yeah, Texans. I can't even think right now who else is there. But there's some teams that are kind of hovering around there. I mean, Bengals, they're close.
Bengals? They're like 4-7.
It's not over till it's over.
No, but a 4-17 doesn't crack the top 10 in the power
You win
rankings.
You win 6 in a row.
Well,
and you're 10-7.
you're a little early on that.
I'm just saying, it's a possibility. It's a possibility. All right, the Bracken Playbook. It's just our pick 'em, but we called it the Bracken Playbook to play in with the show. So, like last week, we'll alternate. Steelers are favored by 3.5.
Who are they playing?
The Browns.
Okay.
I'm taking the Steelers to cover.
Easy.
I mean, that's pretty easy. So what do you think about the next game on the list?
What's that?
Chiefs-Panthers. Chiefs
Oh,
are
duh.
favored by 10.5.
Don't even need to answer it. Everybody knows Chiefs.
You think they'll win by over 10.5?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Panthers suck.
All right. Vikings are favored by 4.5 against the Bears. Part of me really wants to take the Bears.
Bears at home.
Yes.
I think Bears cover. I think Bears cover.
It's
or
a
and
risky.
win.
It's
I
a
think
risky
Bears
pick.
cover and win.
Really?
Yeah, I think. Hey, look. Vikings have not looked good against Jacksonville and Tennessee back-to-back weeks. The Bears are pissed off. They've got some new life and confidence. They're getting their playmakers involved, and their defense is really good. I think Sam Darnold throws a few picks, maybe strip sack. I got the Bears in this one. Not that it's my pick.
I think the Bears. I think the Bears cover. I don't think they win. Because they're just cursed. They're gonna make it super close. Caleb's gonna look pretty good, and they're gonna lose in the most heartbreaking fashion.
So you have the Vikings.
No, I think the Bears will.
You got
cover.
the Bears. Okay.
I think they'll cover.
Texans
are favored by 8.5
Covered.
against the Titans.
I think I'll take the points on that one
For who?
for Tennessee.
Okay.
I think when I take the points, I think that means I think Texans will win, but I don't think they'll cover.
Okay. Detroit's favored by 6.5 against the Colts. I think this game is going to be like 45-21 Detroit, so I'm going to take Detroit to cover.
Detroit's at Indy.
Yes.
Interesting.
And then next one is Dolphins are favored by 7.5 against the Patriots.
Ooh. I'll take that. Dolphins. I think just in Miami, I think they'll score a few.
I agree with that. Then you got the Bucks are favored by 3.5 against the Giants.
Wow, has that been updated since they benched Daniel Jones?
I don't know. I pulled these like last week, so they could very well be
That line
outdated.
could be very different now.
But either way, I'm taking the Bucks because I do not trust the Giants
See
whatsoever.
let me look at my
What the actual
pick'ems
line
here
is.
and see what that is. So it is up to 5.5 now.
I still think the Buccaneers cover that.
Okay.
But yeah, and then the next game, Washington's favored by 9.5 against the Cowboys.
I'm taking that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Cowboys are just awful mess.
Horrible. Broncos are favored by 3.5 against the Raiders. I'm taking the Broncos all day. The Raiders just suck. Niners are favored by 1.5 against the Packers. So it's probably changed.
It's flipped
by
now. Yeah, the Packers are a 1.5 favorite.
You taking that?
I think the Packers win. Packers cover at least by a field goal.
I agree.
Yeah.
Seahawks are favored by 1.5 against the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals win.
Seahawks, that's a big win against San Francisco. So I'll bet Arizona's off a bye. 6-4, 5-5. That's a tough one. Yeah, it's a toss-up.
And then the Eagles are favored by 2.5 against the Rams.
Ooh. Man, it's now up to 3.5, it looks like.
For the Eagles?
Eagles are favored by 3.5. That could be a shootout. I'm taking the Rams. I just trust Stafford.
And win?
Yeah, I think Sirianni. I think Sirianni will blow that one. But Saquon could be the equalizer that makes me eat my words.
True.
So, I think Rams at home. They can find a way.
Okay.
Puka, Cooper Kupp, Kyron, get going.
Ravens are favored by 3.5 against the Chargers.
Oof.
I'm going to take the Chargers to win. I'm going to do it.
Chargers have played well. I think that's a
their
big game.
defense it's in LA, which is not always home field advantage, but in LA,
Yeah.
I don't know. I got a good feeling about that one, but we'll see how these picks do. Maybe next week we'll actually go over our picks and see how we did. But yeah. Next up, everyone's favorite segment, hearing the dumbest takes of all time, Jaden's hot takes. The first one, the Bengals are going to make the playoffs. The 4-7 Bengals are going to make the playoffs.
All right, let's see here. Just for who do they have left on their schedule?
Yeah.
This is how we'll know how dumb of a take this is. Although, I mean, I will say, I'd love it if they did. I like Joe Burrow. I like what they do, but they've got to play near perfect football, and they seem to be allergic to perfect football. So they're home against the Steelers.
Oh, loss.
And that's because they're on a bye now, right? They're on the bye this week. So they face the Steelers at home, at the Cowboys. So actually, let's back up. So they're 4-7. They need to win out. 10-7. I don't know if that gets you in, but that's what they're going to. 10-7 is their best shot. If they don't win 10 games, they got to be perfect then. So they got to beat the Steelers at home. They got to beat the Cowboys on the road, beat the Titans on the road, beat the Browns at home, beat the Broncos at home, and then beat the Steelers at Pittsburgh.
It's going to come down to those Steelers and Broncos.
You got to beat the Steelers and the Broncos, so it's going to be tough. So, yeah.
But it's not impossible.
Not impossible. Not the worst take, but not likely.
I think they do have the advantage. They do have some hope because I don't think the Steelers light up their defense.
No.
Maybe, but I don't know. I don't see it. So it's just going to be, can they score? But, I mean, if they make the playoffs, watch out, Chiefs. There's your kryptonite. Next one, Jamar Chase is the best wide receiver in the NFL. Now, I have gone back and forth on this, and I believe that Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the NFL. Let me tell you why. First off, could you imagine Justin Jefferson with Joe Burrow? I think it's unfair to compare the two, honestly, because one has one of the better QBs in the league and one is Sam Darnold. I'm sorry, Sam Darnold is nowhere near Joe Burrow. And
where does Kirk Cousins stand up?
I mean, but you've seen what he's done with Kirk Cousins. I mean, he nearly had 2,000 yards. So it's kind of like I've seen what goes with a good quarterback. So in this season, it's kind of like I don't know about that. But the other thing, Chase just seems to get open a lot. But I have seen Justin Jefferson make catches that I didn't know were possible to make. Like, he just makes catches that it's like, how did you do that? And I mean, Chase has made good catches, but Chase is more just like, get open down the field and Burrow will hit him.
Well, there's a lot of good receivers in the league.
True.
It's hard. It's a hard one to say.
To predict.
You know, I mean, some of the catches. I mean, Odell Beckham's catch. You know, that one-handed catch years ago ranks up there. So I mean, there are some crazy catches out there, and Justin Jefferson's made a lot of them. But I guess you have to factor in spectacular catches versus consistent play, and who has the more consistent play.
I think it's pretty even.
You know, it's and I don't know. So I mean, it's not the worst take.
No, but it's not his hottest of takes. But
by hot meaning bad.
I guess just hot is just unpopular.
Okay.
But the next one is Commanders only win one game for the rest of the season. Which, I mean,
what's his basis for that? What's the basis for that take?
I don't know.
Why does he think the Commanders? Like,
I don't know. He's just down on them, I guess.
Right
there.
Oh, whoops. Yeah, Commanders. Okay, so, well, that's already not true because. Or wait, what did he say? What
one game.
Only one more game. So he's saying the Cowboys then is their last game they're going to win.
Did they play the Cowboys twice? That's 2 wins already.
They play the Cowboys twice.
So there's 2 wins.
So it's
you're already disproven.
And you
Jaeden.
play the Saints, you play the Titans, you play the Falcons.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Where are you coming up with these takes?
That's a dumb take.
You're just pulling them out of nowhere.
Yeah.
All right. Now this one. I mean, just insane take. The Chiefs lose to the Panthers next week or this week, I guess.
Does anybody know what Chris Jones is going to do to Bryce Young? I mean, Bryce Young struggles against the weakest defensive line, and the Chiefs' defense alone. That's why the Chiefs are going to cover. They're probably going to score on defense, and so there's no way. There's just no way.
I have seen a few TikToks saying they think Bryce Young is going to win. This isn't going to be his legacy game.
I mean, okay, I will say this. If the Chiefs lose to the Panthers, they may have to worry. They may have to worry. Because I don't know how you explain that one away.
No.
So,
that would be so legendary to watch if that actually happened.
I mean, okay, the difference between the best and the worst team in the NFL is closer than you think. However, there's no way the Panthers should win this game.
I do not see it.
They have no weapons.
If it happens, that would just be insane.
Not a good take.
And for the last one, the Chargers are serious Super Bowl contenders. Which,
Justin Herbert, though, tough to see anybody else doing more with less than Justin Herbert. They were supposed to suck. They lost Keenan Allen. They lost Austin Eckler, Mike Williams. Basically all of the weapons that he played with. And he's got a rookie receiver. He's got a couple of journeyman guys plugged in there. They got J.K. Dobbins, who I think people gave up on, who has been a bright spot for them. And then the defense is playing so well. You never know. I mean, the Chargers, they almost stubbed their toe against the Bengals and looked like the same old Chargers blowing leads. But, not the worst take. Not the worst
Super Bowl contenders, I don't know. Could they win a playoff game?
They're a playoff contender. They're a playoff contender. Yeah.
I don't think Super Bowl might be a little bit of a stretch, but
they'd have to run the table. Mm-hmm. And then you're kind of like, maybe.
But I mean,
trouble with the Chargers, and it's like with the Rams, they don't have a home field. So
yeah, but I mean, maybe that plays their advantage if they're on the road. Maybe. It doesn't matter,
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's it for this week's Jaden's Hot Takes. Stay tuned for the heat next week. And for our final segment on the show today is On This Day in Sports, today is Tuesday, November 19th. And in 1953, on November 19th, baseball was ruled a sport, not a business, in court, which is kind of crazy to think about, that people refer to it as a business, which I think some people still do. Like, it's like sports is a business.
Yeah.
But I guess there was probably some legal reasons that they had to do that. But that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
In 2018, the Rams beat the Chiefs 54-51. I think it was on Thursday Night Football. First time both teams have scored 50-plus in one game. I remember this game because I was deathly sick, and I was sitting on the couch. I don't remember much of the game, but I remember waking up in a cold sweat with a pounding headache. But I remember seeing the score and how crazy that game was.
It was nuts.
I mean, we need another one of those. It was just, defenses were non-existent that game. But that's a cool date to remember. And then finally, in 2019, LeBron James becomes the first player in NBA history to have a triple-double against every team.
Wow. He did that in 2019, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
But he's not the GOAT, and I'll stand on that hill forever. Michael Jordan is the GOAT. I don't care what anybody says, even though I'm probably, with my generation, I should probably agree that LeBron James is the GOAT. But Michael Jordan is the once and for all GOAT. Well, thanks for watching episode 5 of the Bracken Sports Talk podcast. Please like and subscribe. leave a comment. We've only gotten one comment so far.
What did it say?
Who's gonna win the national championship?
Who did that?
I don't know.
Is that a Jaeden question? That kind of sounds
I don't
like
know.
a Jaeden question.
I don't know who it was.
Did you answer it?
I did.
Oh, who'd you say?
The Oregon Ducks. That might give you a hint on who it was, maybe.
Oh,
Maybe.
gosh.
Maybe.
You said the Oregon Ducks? Okay.
Hey,
well,
they're
we'll
number
see.
one team. Hey, Boise State, number 4 seed in the playoff bracket. So we'll
Keep it
see how
going.
that goes. But yeah,
All right. Take care, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for watching and have a good night.